Okay, this is the TFZ No.3. The Fragrant Zither is the name of the company. People call it TFZ for obvious reasons. Fragrant Zither. I don't know what the hell that means. This has a clear shell. You can see, I believe, a 10mm driver on the inside. This is supposed to be a DLC, diamond-like coating, similar to what Campfire Audio uses. Don't know if it's exact tech. Don't know how many different kinds of diamond-like coating there would be. Theory being that harder materials make for stiffer diaphragms, which make for faster recovery, more accurate playback. That's the theory. It seems to hold true with beryllium drivers. Titanium, not as much on the... God, what are the name of the company that uses those? Ultrasound. Not a big fan of Ultrasound. That's another video. Been playing with a lot of balanced armatures recently, some hybrids. This actually sounds really nice. My roots are basshead and classic rock, so hip-hop, classic rock. I started on this because while that graph shows a dip in the mid-frequency, the piano in this song sounds really nice. There doesn't seem to be an obvious... I did a video for the King LTD by this company, and I could hear that this piano was back. It was clear to me. Obvious. Not obvious with this set. Why is that? Is it the diaphragm material? It very well could be. Could we get a focus? There we go. If this is really like a DLC driver, then it makes sense why this sounds so good, because I think that the CAs that use that have a... they do good with the mids. Graph can be damned. It's just the way that the driver recovers. So listening to No More by Aerosmith, I've got the keyboards banging, I've got the hi-hat, and I've also got the vocals, and two of those three things in a recessed midsection would be clear. One would be Steven Tyler's voice plus the backing band vocals would sound slightly back and slightly distant, and the piano would sound, like I said, you got the piano keys here, you got them here, and then a majority of them cross across the mid-range, and not a majority of them, but a lot of them. You can hear it. So anybody that plays piano or appreciates music with piano would know that something that's got too much of a V would be absolutely not non-starter. You could not listen to something like that and appreciate piano. I'm not a piano listener, but I do listen to it in music because it's easy to catch the V. This is not that bad. It's not bad at all, actually. I'm just trying not to be too much of a hype person, because there is a recess. I'm not hearing it. So next track is Melissa by the Allman Brothers, and this is going to give you a sense of sibilant. It's Melissa. Melissa. His voice is close to the mic. I've heard hit be sibilant before with this particular track because he's saying double S Melissa multiple times on the track. Not getting that with this. Not at all. I want to get to what I was enjoying the most. This is really kind of my go-to track. Ginger Baker's hi-hat strike is a splash or it's a crash, and in this case the first one sounded kind of splashy, and then the second one that came in was perfect. So I guess it depends on which of the first or the second hit. The first hit sounded not as ideal, but the second more. I think it's just before Steve Winwood starts coming in with the vocals. Psh, come down off your throne and leave your body alone. And I can't remember the rest of the lyrics up, but just before Steve Wood comes in, there's a strike. There's two. There's one, and then there's a little bit of time, and then there's another, and then Steve Wood comes in. That second one is usually the one I go to, and it sounded really good on this one. So treble and vocals, Steve Winwood sounded really good. And after I listened to that, I went to Grateful Dead, because I listened to a set. I can't remember what it was. It was about a week ago, and everything sounded good on that set except for after the guitar and Jerry Garcia comes in, and Jerry Garcia sounded like boom right up on me. With this set, not the case. I guess it's got a more, I don't know, graphs are... I got to do a video about graphs because they're great for looking at, if like you hear something you think, what the hell is that? And then you graph it and you might be able to see what you're, like listen to the music and then check the graph. Doing the graph first and then listen to music gives your brain preconceived notions, expectations, biases, because look at that 8K, I'm not going to be able to handle that. The graphs work and sometimes they don't. They're like everything else. The specs, the impedance, they all have a piece to complete the puzzle, but I wouldn't lean on them too much. This is actually very nice tuning, and it actually is very similar to the A8. I'd have to take a look at the A8, but that looks almost like a dead ringer. Looks really close anyway. I remember because it looks like that, and the Moondrop Blessing is flat. And it was difficult to elevate, even though the Blessing is a hybrid. It's got a dynamic driver, but I just couldn't get it to go. This hits hard. This goes really good. Kendrick Lamar, Money Trees. Yeah, boom. Dynamic drivers. The BAs that are doing bass, they do them really good, and they can recover very quick, but there's nothing that can quite replace the tactile feeling that you get in your ear when a little dynamic driver is shaking its housing, and this will get to that level. This will hit pretty hard and sound really good at the same time. I really like this set. I'm surprised and not surprised. I read something on the internet that was very positive about this, but I read a lot of positive stuff about the Secret Garden original, and I didn't find that to be the case personally. That was requested by many viewers, and I thought, yeah, I'm not quite feeling that. And I read one review, I think, on this. I translated it from Japanese, and it seemed to be a positive review. I didn't see any graphs. I did see a graph, I think, yesterday. I don't think it looked like this, though. And I'm using the compliant thing, and my stuff matches the stuff that I'm doing, comparing to very commonly graphed IMs like the Etymotic. I think that's what they're called. So on the bass, this thing has great power. Everything on the playlist that has bass comes through very clear. Something with male vocals like Jerry Garcia or Steve Winwood sounds really nice, or Steven Tyler. Sounds very, very good. There's a lot of talk from audio people sometimes about, male voices are great and female is not so great, and I've been somewhat puzzled by that. I use this for male and female vote because they're talk and they're also yelling and singing. Their vocal range of both of these singers inside this version is impressive, and when they don't sound good for females, they don't sound good for males either. There's really, if you look at the fundamental and harmonic range of men and women, they're very, very similar, and the men go a little deeper. Women go deeper as they age, so it's not something I quite follow when someone says females sound da-da-da, but males, I'm not with you, man. I picked this track particularly for the reason of having a very good female singer with high range and a male singer with a very good range, like an opera singer, actually. And they both sound very, very good on this set. The whole song sounds fantastic on this. I'm thinking of putting Jay Giles' House Party on my playlist. I don't know if anybody knows that song, but that's a... That's a it ain't nothing but a party. I don't know if you guys know Jay Giles' House Party. Very, very dope. So the bass on this is quite impactful. The mids are graphed to be slightly recessed, but I'm not hearing that, and maybe I can attribute that to the diaphragm's material, which is supposed to be like a DLC. That could be the case. I'm not sure. I would recommend you guys get opinions from other people that have this in their possession. These sound really good to me. The treble has a elevation at 8K, but it's exactly the same pattern that Moondrop is using. Almost exactly. I like the Moondrops, and I like this TFZ. I like this TFZ more than others I've tried previously, but I'm beginning my journey with TFZ right now. And this is the first, so I don't want to get too hype about it, but this sounds good. This is a good set. Now let's get, so bass, good. Mids, good. Treble, good. There's not a weak point. If I were to look at a graph and never hear these, I'd say those mids must be slightly scooped. Nope, not with my playlist. Somebody asked before what it is. I don't know if you can zoom in on this. I got Prince, When Doves Cry, Tupac, Ambitions as a Rider, AC/DC, Highway to Hell, Aerosmith, No More, No More, The Allman Brothers, Melissa, Blind Faith, Can't Find My Way Home, Bob Marley and the Wailers, Coming In From the Cold, Boston, Foreplay Long Time, Grateful Dead, Ripple, another Grateful Dead, Uncle John's Band. I don't use that actually so much. Kendrick Lamar, Money Trees with J-Rock, another Kendrick Lamar with MC8, Mad City, Led Zeppelin, What Is, What Should Never Be, another Led Zeppelin track called That's the Way, the Marshall Tucker Band, Can't You See? Oh, that sounded dope on this too. Almost everything does, and as well as Do It Again. There's some songs that don't have a lot of value for judging. They sound good, like Aerosmith, Rumors album. There's not a lot of stuff that doesn't sound good with that quality and the way that they made Rumors. There's crap stuff that I wouldn't listen to anything else, but it sounds good with Rumors. Do It Again by Steely Dan sounds really good in a lot of stuff, so I listened to it, sounded good, but that doesn't really mean anything. Violent Femmes, Please Do Not Go, the opening bass line. Very good. Sounded very, very nice. Now let's take a look at the cable. It's different. It absolutely doesn't kink up. It's got the left right side, and I don't mind this at all. I actually like it. It's like home speakers or even audio. Is it better to be wound or side by side? I'm old school. If I had to pick, I guess I would go with this. I just haven't found many that are really high quality that are doing the left right. There is no chin slider, I guess. Unless I'm missing something right there. Does the chin slider matter? I didn't think so, but then people came into my channel like, and chin slider is important to me. So for people who are into that, this would not be the cable for you. But otherwise, though, it doesn't get tangled up at all. It's actually plugged into the Hugo right now. So the cable's practical. It doesn't get in your way, which seems to be quite strong. It's got the rubber for the ear hooks. I don't know if that's my first choice, but it's not bad. I use after cables anyway. Don't believe in cables making a difference in sound, but I just like to do it because sometimes when you like a set, you want to up them. How do you do that? New cable, it's like a new dress. If I were a girl and had a Barbie doll, I'd probably be buying all kinds of costumes and shit. That's kind of what you do when you're buying cables for earphones. You're just dressing it up. So this looks decent. It handles very well. It's terminating into a 3.5. Do I wreck it? I'm going to hold off and see what the other TFZs are sounding like and what they're offering. This sounds good. If somebody else said, you know what, I think those are good, I agree with that person. If somebody said these have something kind of negative, you ought to ask them to be more specific about exactly what track they were listening to, because then you can come in and ask me and I can listen to that track and say, no, I'm not hearing that. Or I can say, yeah, that's true. I didn't even notice it. So that's why mentioning the music when you're doing praise or being critical, it's kind of critical. I just use those two words like very close to each other. Gives somebody who's watching the video or listening to your, reading your typed words, something to follow instead of saying heights and widths and fucking dog. I'm going to be out of here in a second. Instead of saying heights and widths are, you know, this and that and jargon that people can't get their fucking brains around. I can't anyway. You can say that this part of a song doesn't sound that great, and then somebody can go in and kind of hear if that's the case. So I will come in and compare this with the other TFZs after the other TFZs are done, and then I'll kind of rank it. Do I like this? I think this set is great. Thank God I love animals, yeah? Because otherwise I'd open that window and say, shut the fuck up! Not that that dog would listen, but anyway, I'm out of here. No.3s sound good.